The wail of sirens shattered the morning calm as 5 police cruisers roared into my gravel driveway, their lights flashing against the peeling paint of my barn. Dust swirled in the air, a gritty contrast to the pristine asphalt of Willow Grove Estates. I stood in the doorway of my weathered farmhouse, watching as officers stepped out, hands hovering near their holsters. Neighbors peeked through curtains or lingered on porches, eager for the spectacle they thought would end in my arrest. Across the street, Linda Carver stood on her flawless lawn, arms crossed, her smug grin practically glowing. Her auburn hair was perfectly styled, her designer blazer crisp despite the early hour. Behind her, her loyal Homeowners Association board members, Eleanor Price with her ever-present notebook and Gerald Holt with his perpetual frown, gathered like vultures. Linda, the HOA president, had orchestrated this moment, convinced she'd finally crushed the troublesome farmer. For 6 months, she'd hounded me with complaints about my property, rallying her minions to document every blade of grass out of place. Today, she believed her crusade had paid off. But she was wrong. This was a trap I'd set, and she'd walked right into it. I stepped onto the porch as the lead officer, a grizzled man named Sergeant Dawson, called out, "Mr. Harper, we've got reports of illegal activity on your property." I reached into my pocket, pulled out my credentials, and flipped open the leather case. "Special Agent Nathan Harper, FBI," I said coolly. "You're not here for me." I produced a sealed envelope. "This federal warrant, signed by Judge Larson this morning, is for her." I pointed at Linda, whose smugness evaporated into shock. Her hand clutched her throat, her face paling as the officers turned to her. 6 months ago, I'd arrived at Willow Grove under a carefully crafted cover. The FBI had purchased this 5-acre farm through shell companies, a perfect outpost to investigate a web of corruption. To the neighbors, I was Nathan Harper, a reclusive veteran starting an organic farm. My backstory, 2 tours in Iraq, an honorable discharge, and a limp from a fictional injury, was airtight. The farm, a holdout from before the subdivision's manicured lawns, was zoned for agriculture, but still under HOA rules. My barn, outwardly rustic, hid surveillance gear worth millions. Even the chicken coop had cameras aimed at Linda's colonial mansion across the street. The investigation targeted land, fraud, and money laundering tied to Pinnacle Development, a company flipping federal forest land for pennies. Suspicious funds flowed through the HOA, and Linda, its president, was the linchpin linked to Pinnacle CEO Richard Vance. My first run-in with her came 2 days after I moved in. Her gleaming SUV pulled up as I stacked compost in plain sight. She strode over, designer heels clicking, and handed me a leather-bound HOA handbook. "Mr. Harper," she said, her voice dripping with condescension, "I'm Linda Carver, HOA president. We have standards here." She eyed my tractor and garden beds with disgust, listing violations before driving off with Gerald in tow. Her harassment escalated. Violation notices piled up. My fence was too tall. My compost was an eyesore. She cruised by at odd hours, snapping photos. By month 3, she dragged a county inspector to my coop, claiming health violations. The inspector, a weary man named Carl, found nothing wrong. "Everything's up to code," he told her, earning a scowl. Linda's fury was palpable, her polished facade cracking. My cameras caught her later on the phone. "He passed inspection, Richard. We'll try something else." I played the part of a stubborn but harmless farmer, all while recording her every move. My real work happened at night, compiling evidence of wire transfers, bribes, and HOA funds siphoned to offshore accounts. By month 4, Linda grew paranoid. She researched my cover, pulling fake military records the FBI had planted. One evening, she confronted me, waving the file. "Your story doesn't add up, Mr. Harper. Special forces, then nothing for years? What are you hiding?" I leaned into my role, voice low. "I serve my country, Mrs. Carver. Now I just want peace." Her eyes narrowed, unconvinced. Her desperation peaked yesterday. Overhearing her on the phone, I caught her telling the sheriff I was growing drugs and hiding undocumented workers, lies meant to ruin me. But the sheriff knew my status. That call, laced with malice, was the final nail. Judge Larson signed the warrant hours later. Now, as I crossed the street, warrant in hand, Linda's composure shattered. "This is absurd," she shrieked as officers cuffed her. "I'm on the zoning board. I know the deal." Neighbors gasped, some smirking. Eleanor, once Linda's ally, stepped forward. "You used our fees for fraud?" she demanded. A news van arrived, reporter Maria Delgado capturing the chaos. My handler had tipped her off, ensuring Linda's downfall went public. Officers searched Linda's house, hauling out boxes. Richard Vance was arrested at his golf club. The farm, my cover now blown, was transferred to a veterans agriculture program. As I packed, neighbors apologized. "We should have questioned her," said Tom, an elderly resident. I smiled. "Tell the veterans they're welcome here." Driving away, I glanced back at Willow Grove, its perfect lawns hiding rot now exposed. Linda thought she was untouchable, but justice had arrived. What do you think about Linda's abuse of power and the corruption in Willow Grove? Have you faced injustice or bullying in your community? Share your thoughts in the comments. Take a stand and let's discuss.